Hello and welcome. My name is MacroBioBoy and I'm the content lead for Maxroll's coverage of Diablo 2 Resurrected. I'm here to show you the amazing D2Planner tool designed by Riv at rivsoft.net. This is your one-stop all-inclusive tool for gearing, customizing, and theory crafting your character's build for Diablo 2 Resurrected, as well as Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction. In this planner, you're able to completely customize your character's inventory, gear, stats, skills, as well as your mercenaries. But that's not all. This tool also lets you completely prepare yourself for any character by planning out their level progression, skill progression, gear progression, damage calculations, and breakpoint. With this planner, you can literally go level by level, step by step, and completely plan out every aspect of your character. So when it's time to blast, the only thing that you need to worry about is the gameplay. So now let's go section by section and get a much deeper understanding of what this tool is really capable of. So let's take a look at the example character that I have here, which is our multi-shot physical Boazon, which is found in our character build guide. As you can see, this character is completely kitted out, with every piece being exactly what you would be looking for in the ideal setup. In addition to that, the entirety of the planner is completely interactive. Go ahead and drop that amulet, as well as even opening up your Heraldric Cube and stashing an item in there for later. You are able to completely customize what level your character is, what difficulty the character would be playing inside of, as well as for your mercenary, being able to select whichever act difficulty that you hired the mercenary in, as well as the mercenary's level itself. Your stats, as well as those of your mercenary, are actually found over here on the right, where every single stat will give you a complete breakdown of all sources from your gear and stat allocations, as well as any calculations that the game engine would normally do. If you're wanting to see something like what your eventual fire resistance will be, go ahead and hover your stat and see the current contribution from your gear, as well as any difficulty penalties and any other buffs or debuffs that might be active on your character. The entirety of the tool is completely interactive with every other part of the tool. If you update something in one place, you will see the real-time changes in another section. Did I mention that every single breakpoint also gives you a highlighted breakdown of the table along with your character's stats, the effective values that you get due to diminishing returns, and then the actual table itself so that you can see the exact frame length of any one of your animations. Every stat in the game is represented here as long as your character has a piece of gear giving them that stat or a skill. We even go so far as to show you the light radius that the Hellfire Torch is giving you, which has actually become a lot more important in the remastered game. While the finished build is an amazing thing to see, the equipment tab is where the actual magic of the character planner starts. Here, you're able to search by, filter, and create any item in the game that will also keep a record of all the items that you've created for ease of location later. Now, when you've created as many items as I have for your build, it is fantastic to be able to scroll through and see each one paired up with any other items from that item quality, so you don't have to go searching through or recreate any items. Now, after you've selected Create Item, you'll be brought to a sophisticated search and filter system that lets you cast as wide of a net as you would like, or filter by very specific stat lines to find those hard to remember items. Before applying any filter, each item type and every item in the game is available for you to see and to peruse, and you're able to hover any item and see their stats in real time. Whether it's going through all the different unique items, which is filtered by item type, or it's going through by each set seeing their per item set bonus or their full set bonus, this search feature allows you to see every option and possibility that you might care to investigate while customizing and theory crafting your character. Now, for people who like to pick exact specifications and fine-tune their search parameters, what we have is a filter system that allows you to search by any stat line in the game and also choose any variables that are available for that. Let's go ahead and start off by trying to find items that would give us access to teleport before our character found themselves an enigma in the late game. Using the quick search function here, we'll just go ahead and put charges. And then let's go ahead and select teleport. And filter. You'll see that the total item pool has been reduced to any options which could have charges of teleport. And whether it is the unique spell steal, the set item Naja's Puzzler, or any one of the bases in the game that could actually roll with charges of teleport, you're able to select whatever you're looking for here based off of your search parameters. Just to show you what the item generation tool looks like, let's go ahead and make an amulet that actually has teleport charges. You are able to select any quality of the item that can actually roll on that base. So let's start with a magic amulet. And then when adding mods to it, again, the quick search function, I'm just looking for teleport charges, and here we go. Now that we've created our awesome item, let's go ahead and put it on our Amazon. And there we go. Our Amazon now has our amulet with teleport charges. And if I was hoping to see any item that I've created, I could scroll down to the magic items that have been made on this character build guide and see a list of the items that we have created, our amulet with teleport charges, and that it's also currently equipped to our character. For ease of use, for people who haven't quite figured out exactly what items they're hoping to put onto their character build, go ahead and click any open character planner slot and see any items that you have already created that could fit into that slot. As well, clicking the create item button now will bring you to a filtered list of all items which could fit into that slot. You'll see here that showing us unique and set amulets, as well as any crafted options that are available, and also any rare or magic options which are available. Now, the same also goes for your inventory. Clicking the open slot in our inventory will show you any items that we have already created for this slot, as well as any of the base items that are typically held in your inventory. Going through and selecting your Hellfire Torch will bring up your item creation screen, as well as already drag and drop it onto your character planner. Here you can go through and customize any of the stats that are variable on your item and see the effects on your character in real time. If I were to change the resistances that are available from our Hellfire Torch, you'll see that our fire resistance now has a lower calculation by subtracting 10 from all of these values. Something that you may have never seen before are the actual probabilities of any of the items dropping in-game. Let's go ahead and create a pair of Super GG rare boots and see what's the likelihood of us actually finding that. So go ahead and filter by boots. I personally like heavy boots here, and we're making a rare version. Starting off, the best stat, we have to add faster run walk, so 30% faster run walk, and you'll see that the odds of this affix rolling on this item are roughly 35% of the time, so that's pretty awesome. And the odds of actually rolling the maximum of 30% faster run walk is about 12%. Now let's go ahead and add all the other stats which would actually make these into really GG boots to find. Let's start with some faster hit recovery, cold resistance, fire resistance, lightning resistance, and just to put the final piece on, your magic find. Now, if you notice while we were selecting our mods, the item actually changes to show what the item would look like in-game, because most affixes actually have a color code that affect the item as it appears. The chances of us rolling boots that actually have all of these affixes together is about 1 in 28,000, so that's not too bad. But the chances of all of these affixes rolling at max value puts us at just over 134 billion to 1. Now, if this information wasn't enough, you'll actually be able to link directly to our drop calculator, which we'll be covering in another video. While gear is great, there's another incredibly important aspect to the character. That is their skills and attribute progression as you level, complete quests, and allocate your points. Here in the character tab, you will find a fully interactive skill tree, as well as attribute selection and quest reward selection, which, when selected or deselected, will update your character in real time to represent any of the changes. Based off of the character level and quest rewards that you have selected, you will have a pool of skill points, which is representative of a real skill tree in-game, to be able to completely plan out your character. Not only that, all of the gear that you're wearing that we give plus the skills is also represented. But if you're hoping to just see the hard points that you've allocated to your skills, go ahead and hit Control, and you'll see the actual points that have been allocated to each skill. And if this wasn't helpful enough, you'll also see that you have the ability to reset your skill points, and you are also able to record your skill progression. So right now what you're seeing is my character at level 75, and every time that you move forward on the skill progression, whatever recorded skill point allocation that you've selected will actually show in green. So each time you level up, moving this bar over by 1 will show you where to put your next point, and where our build guides recommend putting their build points after you pass level 75. The tool in this functionality's purpose is to keep you in the gameplay as long as possible. Checking the character planner very quickly to just see where to put your next skill point means you don't have to spend all of your time trying to remember exactly how you planned out your character. Like all other functionality in the tool, the attribute section is fully interactive with your character as it's currently built. So let's go ahead and see what would happen if we never actually allocated those 71 points to strength. Removing those points from strength, you'll see that we are no longer able to meet the requirements for our fortitude, our war travs, or our wind force. You'll also see here in your attribute section that it's currently showing red, meaning that how you have your character built does not meet the requirements of the gear that you have. And just like in-game functionality, rather than having you type in a value or left clicking until all of your points have been allocated, hold down shift and left click on the plus sign to allocate all available points to that stat. My absolute favorite part of this entire tool has got to be the calculations tool. Here you're able to see every single attack, skill, buff, and debuff that your character, your mercenary, or your targeted monster has. Seen here, you'll see our character, what buffs are currently available on them, as well as the attacks that we're hoping to review. Our mercenary, whatever auras might be available from the gear that your mercenary has. Here you're able to select any monster in the game to be able to calculate your chance to hit, average damage per second, total damage output, as well as any of your skills which would affect this monster. Going into the dropdowns of each skill will give you even more information to show how the calculations are working. The damage portion will show you any of the skill damage, any additional damage on it, as well as your chance to hit and the chance that the target may block your attack. Going into your attack frame calculator, you actually see the entire table showing any relevant modifiers from your weapon base, any other weapon bases that would be available in this slot, as well as your effective increased attack speed from your gear, the animation length, so right now we are at the 8-frame breakpoint, as well as the action flag for the skill itself. If you're somebody who is just looking for a quick and fast table to look at, you're actually able to hide any of the additional information and see immediately what IAS breakpoint you're at and how long that animation takes. The damage per second calculation will take into account all of the previously calculated values, add any additional abilities that might proc on your attack, and give you a number that is specifically targeted at the monster that you have and any resistances that they have. You'll see here that this is even calculating the percent chance of casting Firestorm from our Hellfire Torch in the addition to our calculated DPS that would bring. You're able to hide or show any of the skills that your character or their gear would give you access to. That will include O skills as well as chance to cast or charges. So here you'll actually see our ability to cast a Holy Bolt, and we could show this and see the relative damage or the chance that this would go off, which is afforded to us from our Laying of Hands. Hovering the skill will actually show you the source on your character planner in green. When we swap to our offhand, where we currently have a call to arms, you'll actually see that we gain access to the buffs of Battle Command, Battle Orders, as well as the debuff Battle Cry. All of these can be added or removed, and also refreshed in case you've changed any of your gear, and all of these calculations will show when you're swapped back to your main attack. You'll see here that I currently have the buffs of Battle Command and Battle Orders, as well as my Mercenary. And then in addition to that, we are currently showing the Mercenary's Aura of Fanaticism. So this actually calculates all of the buffs that would be available in-game that your character has access to, so that you have a complete picture of what your expected damage, chance to hit, and any other stats that you're looking for might look like once you're actually in the game. And just in case you're wondering, you are able to select any target in the game. Right now you'll see we're going up against the big bad himself, that's right, Uber Diablo from Uber Tristram. You're also able to see all of the stats from that monster, as well as their attacks, their different attack patterns, and any of their damage calculations against specifically you and the stats that your character has. Once you've created your D2Planner account here on maxroll.gg, you'll be able to save, load, and keep track of all of the builds that you've theory crafted for ease of finding them later and for having quick access to them, as well as a fully customizable folder system so that you can keep all of your goodies organized in whatever way that you like. In addition to be able to create as many character profiles as you want, you're actually able to create multiple sets on the same character planner for ease of comparison. Down here in the left, you'll actually see that there is a pop-up menu that has every set that I've created for this character, whether that is starting off as a budget option here with the Harmony, a budget option using Bariza, or trying to compare maximum DPS on the two primary setups that you might use. So if you're a person who's always wondered whether or not it would be better to use one mercenary versus another mercenary, or have one aura active versus another, let's go ahead and compare our same build with an Act 1 and an Act 2 mercenary. So our primary setup has us using Wind Force, and then our mercenary using Faith to get us the Fanaticism aura. But this mercenary doesn't typically do a lot of damage. With our Act 2 offensive mercenary setup, you'll see that we are using the Faith runeword and a Grand Matron bow, and we're actually using a Pride on our mercenary to see what our top end DPS capabilities are. Keeping the calculations tab open and swapping while taking a look here at our multi-shot, which is our bread and butter on this build, you'll see the comparison point without having to change anything else at all. You'll see that running the Act 1 Mercenary with a Faith Bow will actually gain us just about 1000 DPS over the comparison point with the Act 2 Mercenary in Pride. Ease of use is at the foundation of what this tool seeks to have, and for that purposes, being able to save and update your profile as easy as clicking once, and now everything that you've changed is completely saved, as well as creating a complete new profile and starting over from scratch if that's what you want to do. Probably the coolest interactive piece of the D2 Planner tool is actually your ability to upload a character save file, either from D2 Lord of Destruction or from Diablo 2 Resurrected, and be able to see them in the planner with all of the current functionality. While this is explained here, let me just go ahead and drag and drop a character folder from my personal grail so you can see it for yourself. Here we have Righteous, who is my smiter that I use for farming Hellfire Torches and Annihilus Charms, with all of their gear, as well as being able to see their skill tree, their stat point allocations, all of the quests that they have completed, as well as any of the calculations that we've talked about previously. Again, this works with any original D2 LOD character save or any new character save that will be from Diablo 2 Resurrected. Once you have your character dragged and dropped onto your profile, go ahead and save them, and then continue to fully customize this character so that you can continue progression for any characters that you've seen previously. This is incredibly important because you will be able to take your single player character files from your original LOD install and port them into Diablo 2 Resurrected to be able to continue to play them in the new graphics with the new quality of life changes. I hope that this look through the D2 Planner created by Riv here on Maxroll GG helps you to completely customize, create, and theorycraft characters to your wildest imaginations. Any of our build guides here on Maxroll will actually link you directly to the D2 Planner if you click anywhere within the character planner itself, and you'll be able to see every stat and decision that is available there, and then take that, customize it yourself, save it as your own profile, and have that available to you when you try to first step foot into Sanctuary. I hope that I've left no questions unanswered for you, and I look forward to seeing you in Diablo 2 Resurrected.